I mean, none of these things have actually really been stressful challenges. Let's see what else there is. Let me think if we come across a challenge that is stressful. Hi, I'm Lee Pace, and I'm here to talk through some crazy, stressful moments on set. This is my stress test. The costume was definitely a challenge on Guardians of the Galaxy. And also getting to know my colleagues. Zoe Saldana had very complicated makeup. Dave Bautista had extremely complicated makeup. So did Karen Gillan. We would all start the day for hours in our respective makeup trailers and then come to set. I was buried in this makeup, and then on top of it, I would say 50 pounds of costume. I felt like I would talk to people, and like I was Evan McCone in this movie, like completely covered up in a mask. I'm trying to tell a story about, goofy things that had happened over the weekend, and I'm sure they're looking at me like, what are you? Who are you? He's not dressed to be approachable. So making friends was the challenge on Guardians of the Galaxy. Running Man. So I play a character who's covered up with a mask, and so there was, some consideration that I had to give to how do I physicalize this character in a way that feels specific so that he's not kind of robot in mask and, I can give the character some character. I love specificity with a character. You kind of know what scent to follow as you start down the path to find the character. On top of being a ruthless killer, he's also a showman. He's putting on the performance of being the hero of this reality TV show that is, juxtaposed with the reality of the show, where the real hero of the story is Glenn Powell. But I would say the real challenge is we have a number of pretty sick stunts and fight scenes, and I love working in this way. I like a challenge, so I look for challenges and things, not like as a masochist. And working out a fight scene involves, weeks of, detailed physical work trying to choreograph the fight so that everyone's safe, because what you want the audience to feel is aggression and desperation and a fight to survive, so that when you're on set, you can forget about the fight and just play the scene. Oh, The Hobbit. What a joy. What an extreme privilege to get flown to New Zealand to be a part of Middle-earth. What a gift. I guess the challenges I found working on that one, I took the opportunity to explore New Zealand, and I went on some epic hikes. I went around the Tongariro Northern Circuit, which is Mount Doom in the movie. But there's this extraordinary 4-day hike that takes you, all the way around it, through the woods, above the tree line to get to the volcano. And it was so challenging. You set a course and you don't know how hard it's actually going to be. How hard can 3,000 feet be to climb? Some days it's really easy and fun, but some days it's really challenging, and you're thinking, God, how long until I get to a place where I can fill up my water bottle again? Is this going to be a comfortable place to make the tent tonight? I'm not seeing much level ground, and it's getting dark. How hard can it be? Oh wow, Lincoln. Really the challenge, the stress on that one was rising to the occasion, because I was working with Steven Spielberg. Daniel Day-Lewis played President Lincoln. Everyone was so respectful for his portrayal of President Lincoln that he was called Mr. President even when he wasn't on set. It was such an extraordinary cast of people. The subject matter, Tony Kushner wrote that script. It was not lost on me how extraordinary that opportunity was, and no matter how hard I worked, there's nothing that is enough to kind of equal, the demands of that role. I want to ace this one because I am working with people who ace it regularly. Most of my scenes were in the Congress, and the Congress is not unlike our Congress right now. It was a very argumentative, bombastic place. They filled it with a bunch of Civil War reenactors who had all read Doris Kirkwood's book. And so they were assigned, okay, that's a Republican from Maine, that's a Democrat from Illinois. And they knew, because these were all history buffs, their character's perspective, what they were fighting for. So when I was delivering some of these speeches inside that Congress, I had, 200 scene partners who were all giving it back because they understood if their character was for what I was saying or against what I was saying. It was like electric being a part of those great big scenes. I think Mr. Spielberg was happy with what I did, gave it everything I've got, but I certainly took that one seriously. Oh my gosh, the role was so challenging. Joe Pitt is a character that I'd been reading since I was in high school. You know, when Tony Kushner approached me about playing him in this Broadway production, I just thought, oh, you know, what a feast, what an incredible opportunity. But what happens to that character is that he just gets the skin ripped off of him, you know, in the course of that 8-hour play. And the actor playing that has the experience of doing that 8 times a week with an audience who's also experiencing it. So it was, you know, emotionally such a challenge. And I sometimes think about these roles like you gather a growth inside of you. Sometimes it's a happy growth. Like you're like, oh, I have a piece of myself that I really appreciate having that inside me. But with Joe Pitt, it was like this very malignant, like pain that I gained from playing that character that took some time to heal in a way. And it's a testament to Tony Kushner's absolutely brilliant play that goes right to the heart of, you know, this collective tragedy that New York City faced in the mid-'80s and the insanity that those very real people went through. That was, I would say, the most stressful and challenging experience I've ever had, for sure. You cracked me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks for doing this with me. Those are my stories. Keep calm, Lee Pace.